Yes, I'm Oba William King. This is storytelling time. In celebration of African American Heritage Month. Just a couple of stories for you. Storytelling time. Storytelling time. Storytelling time. It's storytelling time. Storytelling time. Storytelling time. Everyone gather round. Everyone gather round. Everyone gather round. It's time to hear a story. Yeah. First story I'd like to share with you is called The Beautiful Blackbird by Bryan. Once, long time ago, longer than any of you would ever even realize, birds were every color of the rainbow. Yes, there was yellow bird and green bird. There was blue bird, pink bird. There was orange bird. There was blackbird. There was purple bird. There was turquoise bird. I seen a brown bird and a gray bird. But one time I saw a plaid bird. Yes, a plaid bird. And one day those birds said, "Let's have a bird party." They got to flip-flop and flapping their wings, and they flew from wherever they were and met up over by that little pond of water. They got over there by the pond, and those birds began to stick their wings in the water and splash the water with their feet, and they dipped themselves into the water. They were eating worms. Oh yeah, they were eating worms. But they were birds. It was a party. Those birds were having so much fun when Graybird looked across the pond, saw Blackbird. Cuckoo-choo! Cuckoo-choo! Look at you! Look at you! Graybird saw Blackbird and couldn't help but start to sing. She said, "Blackbird stands out best of all. Blackbird is so beautiful. Her feathers gleam all colors of the sun. Blackbird, you such a beautiful one." Graybird ran over to Blackbird and said, Blackbird, you are so good looking. I wonder," Graybird said, I wonder if you would mind put a little bit of that black in me. Yeah? You're just so beautiful. I'm telling you, if I had some of that black on me, I would be the most beautiful thing that they'd ever seen. Well, except for you. Well, Blackbird, look, kind of cocked her head and said, "The color on the outside don't matter at all. It's what's inside that counts. Color on your outside, it does not mean a thing. It's what's inside that counts." Oh, Graybird said, "Well, I know, I know, but my name is Ringdove, and nobody calls me by my name. If you were to put a ring around my neck, then they would know me when they see me, and they'd call me by my name." Well, Blackbird said, "Well, okay." And Blackbird pulled a feather just right out of her side, just like that. She reached it forward and told Graybird, said, spin around, spin around. And Graybird spun around and around and around. And as she spun around, Blackbird put that feather right up against her neck, making that beautiful black ring around her neck. And as she had the ring around her neck, old Graybird lifted her neck, pulled her shoulders back, left her wings where she could be seen, and all those birds came to say, "Ring dove! Ring dove! Ring dove!" One after the other, they ran up close, looking at the beauty of Ring Dove. Immediately, once they saw her, they looked at Blackbird, they looked at her. They looked at Blackbird, they looked at her. They looked at Blackbird, they looked at her and said, "What about me? What about me?" One after the other, those birds, they said, "What about me? What 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 about me?" Blackbird said, "Come, come, come. I've got plenty, plenty, plenty." Blackbird, she took those black feathers and made a concoction in the gourd. And each one of those birds came one after the other, and she put some lines on some and dots on the others. She painted their beaks, she painted their cheeks, she painted their wings, she painted their feet, she painted their tails. They started to sing. They said, "Beak to beak, peck, peck, peck. Spread your wings, stretch your neck. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful." That's what they said. Each bird, as she got a little bit of that black on them, each one would begin to sing, joining like a chorus, like calling out right after Graybird was singing, following the words of Ring Dove. They said, "Beak to beak, peck, peck, peck." Come on, you say it. "Spread your wings, stretch your neck. I am beautiful. You are beautiful. We are beautiful." Oh, those birds, they sang and danced pretty much all night long. You could hear the sound just echoing all over the land. More birds came, and Blackbird kept on painting. As long as they came, she would paint them and put those beautiful colors all over those birds. You know, it just looks so much better when there's a little bit of black in the space. Well, Blackbird said, "My gourd is empty, empty, empty. I've painted plenty, plenty, plenty. There's other places that I need to be. I've got to fly away from here. Fly away and be free." On Blackbird, she raised up her wings and pumped them against the air and rose up off that little pond area, flying and soaring up in the air. One after the other, those birds, they began to follow. Yeah, they follow right behind, flying this way and that way, going to their places, back to their homes, to where they live. Every once in a while, you'll see them. You'll see them right outside your window. You'll see them when you walking through the park, you just look up in the air. Sometimes you see them on the telephone wire, or you see them on a fence. Or maybe they themselves are walking through the grass, pulling up some worms. That's what they do. And sometimes when they're soaring up in the air, it looks like they're floating, just defying gravity. They're so beautiful. They're so perfect. They're so majestic, those birds. And if you listen closely, you can hear them sing. Oh, I should have told you. I speak bird. I know exactly what they're saying. They're saying, I am beautiful. You are beautiful. We are beautiful. Black is beautiful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Black is beautiful. You are beautiful. I am beautiful. We are beautiful. Black is beautiful. Somebody say it with me. Black is beautiful. Celebrate Black History, y'all. Happy Black History Month. It's so much fun to tell stories. And stories come in all kinds of fashions, all styles and all kinds. And sometimes stories, it's so important that we not just learn stories, but tell our stories, share our stories, command our stories, keep our stories. Because sometimes your stories, if you're not telling them, they might slip away and get caught up in the mouth of someone else. They might get away from you. You might not be able to pass them on. If you miss a generation and the children don't learn the stories, then how are they going to tell them when they get grown like me? We have to have our storytellers. We have to tell our stories. On her way to work one morning down the road alongside a lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor half-frozen snake. Its pretty colored skin had been all frosted by the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in and I'll take care of you. Take me in, tender woman. Take me in, for goodness sake. Take me in, tender woman. Sighed the snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. She ran straight home from work next night, and then as soon as she arrived, she saw that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Whoa! Take me in, tender woman. Take me in, for goodness sake. Take me inside, tender woman cried. The snake, ooh-wee, said that woman, you're so beautiful, she cried. If I had not taken you in by now, you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin again, then she kissed and held him tight. Instead of saying thanks, that snake gave her a vicious ow! Yow! I saved you, cried that woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite, it's poisonous, and now I'm gonna die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said that reptile with a grin. You knew good and well I was a snake before you took me. Take me in, tender woman, take sigh, tender woman, cry. The snake. The snake. I first heard the story of the snake while living in Chicago, Illinois, and my dear friend became my dear friend. It was someone I always looked up to was Oscar Brown Jr. And during the course of time, there was a program there by the Illinois Arts Council called the Master Apprentice Grant. It was a way in which someone, an apprentice, myself at the time, would learn a trade from a master in the field. And Oscar Brown Jr. is the best of them. And through that grant, that application that we filed together and sent in to the offices that were approved to study for a while, walking through the parks of Chicago during the course of a summer, he shared with me the stories that were in his heart that he felt he could pass along to me. I captured all I could. And as such, he became the poetic storyteller as I'm known today. These memories just, sometimes they get me caught up. I lose my breath when I think about it. That this sacred art form, this ages-old traditional art, it doesn't belong to anyone in particular, but it is an art form that in order for you to keep it, to call it your own, you must share. One last story I'd like to share with you all. This is called the story of the eagles who thought they were chickens. Once long, long ago in Africa land, where the grass was green and the sky was blue, the lucky old sun had nothing to do but roll around heaven all day, and in that place, there was a beautiful people. The people were proud. They walked around with their heads held high most of the time because they were admiring the image of their people, the great eagle. The male eagle would sit perched high upon a mountain cliff, overlooking the valley, looking at the people, minding the business of his day. Or the female eagle, while looking for a mate, she would collect a stick, a twig, in her beak and soar up high, dancing, flirting with her wings. A seductive dance it was. She'd catch the attention of all those eagles sit perched up on that mountain cliff. And when she got high enough, she'd drop that twig. And as she did, that twig would come floating down. And as it floated, those eagles, the male eagles, they would leave their perches on those mountain cliffs, on those mountain tops. They would make their way down to catch that twig before it hit the ground. You see, my friends, it is this way that the female eagle would choose her mate. The male eagle who could catch that twig, he'd show a certain prowess and ability that she needed. You see, the mother eagle, once she has her babies, and the babies begin to grow, that mama eagle is going to push them babies out of that nest. And should they not be ready to fly, oh, that papa eagle better be there to catch them babies before they hit the ground. That's how she chose her mate, knowing that he had that ability to catch them babies before they hit the ground. It was a beautiful land, peaceful, full of dreams. But then one day the men in the boats came. They fought the people. Captured the mother eagle in her nest while sitting upon her eggs. They took that mother eagle and they threw her into the belly of the ship, and across the rough and treacherous waters that ship sailed for days and weeks, For month upon month, time continued to pass. She had no room to spread her wings, no space to soar and fly, sitting on the eggs. And she became ill, not having a proper thing to eat. And soon one day, those little tiny eggs, they began to shudder and shake, and pretty soon one of those eggs, it did break, and out poked the head of a little tiny girl eagle. She looked about and then into the eyes of her mother, and her mother was weary by then. Her mother was sick and weak by then, and her mother could only manage to say, in just what I imagine would be a whisper, always, always believe in yourself. Try your best to try your best. And then she slept. She closed her eyes and she slept that sleep that seldom ceases. A second little egg began to shudder and shake, and pretty soon that shell, it did break, and out poked the head of a little tiny boy eagle, and a third little egg, rare indeed, began to shudder and shake, and pretty soon that shell, it did break, and out poked the head of another little tiny male eagle. And the boy eagles looked at one another, and they looked at their sister, they looked about, they looked around, they didn't see nothing that looked like them. The first mate said to the captain, "Captain, there are little tiny eagles in the belly of the ship. What should I do with them?" The captain said, "You take them eagles and you throw them in the chicken bin. That way when they grow up, they'll think that they are chickens." He laughed this evil, horrid laugh. The first mate did as he was told. He took those little tiny eagles, he put them in the chicken bin, and when that ship landed, he took those eagles, and the captain sold them to a chicken farmer. The chicken farmer took those eagles to the chicken farm, and the first thing that the chickens said when they saw those little tiny eagles was, "Y'all some ugly chickens. Look at you. You got them brown feathers, and them big beaks, and huge feet. And what are those? Wings? What you need wings for? Chickens can't fly. Y'all can't fly. You's just some ugly chickens." Oh, those chickens would tease and ridicule the little tiny eagles. The little tiny eagles saw nothing that looked like them. So all they could imagine was what they were being told by the chickens. They thought that they were indeed ugly chickens. They believed that they could not fly. They felt so bad always being ridiculed and poked at and messed with that they wouldn't even barely eat. When they walked around, they dragged their little tiny feet. Time passed. And those men in the boats went back to that beautiful land where the grass is green and the sky is blue. Where that lucky old sun has nothing to do but roll around heaven all day. They went back to that land, and once again they fought, captured the people. And this time they captured the great and powerful eagle, and they clipped his wings, threw him into the belly of the ship. He could not stretch and fly away. Trapped in the belly of a beast for days, weeks, months upon months, until, as fate would have it, that ship landed. And when it did, they sold that great eagle to the same farmer where the little tiny eagles who thought that they were chickens were. When the great eagle saw those little tiny eagles, he ran to them My brother, come, my sister. Spread your wings and fly away. You are part of a great and proud race. You are meant to soar high above the tops of the trees, through the clouds, right next to that lucky old sun which has nothing to do but roll around heaven all day. Spread your wings and fly away. Are you talking to us? Shh. Don't say nothing about being powerful. Shh. Don't say nothing about being great and mighty and beautiful. We just some ugly chickens. You say that, and those chickens is gonna kill you. Those chickens are gonna tell those roosters, and those roosters are they gonna come. Be quiet. Don't say nothing about being great. The little tiny girl eagle, she felt something inside her. She didn't know what it was. But something in the way that great eagle was speaking, it was something that he said. It was something that he made her feel. She just started to run. She ain't never ran before, but she started to run just as fast as she could. She ran as fast as she could, and she began to try to flap her wings. She was running real fast and flapping real hard, but she'd never flapped her wings before. But she ran so fast and flapped so hard, she got up off the ground just a little tiny ways before she tumbled down in the dirt. As soon as she stopped rolling, those chickens were right there, pointing at her, prodding her, teasing her. Ha ha ha! Told you was dumb. Ha ha ha! Told you couldn't fly. Ha ha ha! Told you was ugly. And now you're dirty. Dumb, ugly, dirty. Dumb, ugly, dirty. They laughed at her. They ridiculed her. But that's when the miracle occurred. It was like she didn't even hear them. She got up out of the dirt and she brushed off her little tiny shoulders. The great eagle, he saw her. He poked out his chest, he spread out his wings, he pumped them against the air, and he rose up on the fence. And there he was on the fence, and she saw what he did. She saw how he balanced his wings. She saw how he pumped them against the air, and she began to run again. He saw that she was trying. He pumped his wings again, and he rose up to the wire above the farmyard. And as he rose, she pumped her wings, and she rose up off the dirt, rose up off that farm ground. She rose up high in the sky. She began to soar. She began to fly. Her little brother saw her up in the air like that. He didn't even have to run. He just stuck out his wings, pumped them against the air, and took off like a rocket ship. I can fly. I can fly. Soaring high up in the sky. They began to fly. Flying and playing in the air. There was a third little tiny eagle who thought he was a chicken. Still there on the ground, the great eagle looked down. He says, come on, brother. Come on. Spread your wings and fly away. I don't want to. The great eagle looked at him. No, you are part of a great proud race. You are meant to soar high above the top of the trees, through the clouds, right next to that lucky old sun. It has nothing to do but roll around heaven all day. Spread your wings, fly away. I don't want to. You never seen anybody fly before. You never seen anybody up in the air dancing like they didn't even have a care. You're afraid. You think if you get up there, you might fall down. I am the great eagle. Should you begin to fall, I will be there to catch you. Come, spread your wings, fly away. I don't want to. The great eagle looked at him and said, you don't want to? You don't even want to try? And if you don't want to, If you don't want to try, there is nothing that I or anybody else can do to help you. And with that, the great eagle, he spread his wings. He spread his wings and he rose up off that farmyard. He rose up off that farmyard, spreading his wings and flapping and pumping his wings up against the air. The little girl eagle, she ran just like she ran before. She got right behind that great eagle and she pushed her wings against the wind. Up into the air she flew. And remember that little boy, just like that rocket ship. That was his way. Straight up in the air with his loud self. Talking about one of these mornings, I'm gonna wake up, I'll fly away home, home, on his way home. But something inside him couldn't let him leave his little brother down there on the ground. He tilted his wings. He tilted his wings and he flew back down close to the farm ground. And reached out his foot, and with his talon, he grabbed his little brother by the chest. And he kicked his foot up in the air, making his brother rise up, 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 up. He said, you spread your wings. You learn to fly or die trying. And with that, the little one started coming down, gravity pulling him close to the ground. He's flip-flopping, flapping. He's coming, about to hit the ground hard. Going to be a big splat. Ha! But instinct took over and unfurled his wings. And they caught the wind. And he began to sing like his brother sang. One of these mornings, I'm gonna wake up, I'll fly away home. On their way back home. Don't let your eagles think that they're chickens. They're chickens. Peace and blessings, everybody. Just like I said, I'm Oba William King. Poetic storytelling by the grace of the Almighty. That's what I get to do. Storytelling time. Yeah. Storytelling time. Storytelling time. Everyone gather round. Everyone gather round. Everyone gather round. Yes. It's time to hear some stories. Asante Sana. Thank you very, very much. Asante Sana. Adabo. Peace and blessings, y'all.